¿A dónde está papi? 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 ¿A dónde está papi?
Welcome to the Tuesday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Tuesday. Welcome, everybody. How's it going, Cosmic Seeking? It's the Morton. Welcome. Ooh, what happened here? There we go. Howdy. Welcome. I don't know why every time I get out of the window, the music stops, but that's okay. Whatever. There we go. Today we have a few things to go through. The Beckett Sphere's audio issues are spreading. Nah. That was my bad. I have decreed that there should be no audio problems today. Okay? I have declared. Have you had a good day? I mean, I logged into work, and I am no longer at work, so right now it's pretty good. Cosmic Seeking is a granddad now? Is that so? You're so lucky to be remote working. True. Most based of all granddads. great granddad. Wow. Wow. Michael Hassler, how's it going? Welcome, welcome. All right, folks, we got a few headlines and time. Time is of the essence, folks. We'll try to cover everything as much as we can. But first,
transgenderism must be eradicated from public life entirely.
This past weekend was CPAC, which I don't know about you, but I feel like this happens every 3 weeks. Like there's some new conservative conference every 3 weeks, and there was another one this weekend. So there were a lot of course, unhinged speeches at this conference, but maybe the most crazy, if it's possible, was this one by Michael Knowles. So Michael Knowles is a failed actor, now Daily Wire host, a conservative propagandist, and he went on stage and called for the eradication of an entire group of people. Check this out.
There can be no middle way in dealing with transgenderism. It is all or nothing.
right. So, anyone who speaks this way is already raising like massive red flags. Yeah, this is pretty freaking dark. I think like the more dystopic aspect of it is that it got a resounding applause.
If transgenderism is true, if men really can become women, then it's true for everybody of all ages. If transgenderism is false, as it is, if men really can't become women, as they cannot, then it's false for everybody too. And if it's false, then we should not indulge it, especially since that indulgence requires taking away the rights and customs of so many people.
Wait, what? It involves taking away the rights and customs of so many people? Wait, what? How? Who? What? When? Where? What rights? What rights are being eliminated here? Other than the rights you want to like, this is exactly a classic example of every accusation is just a confession. Is he trying to make the argument that trans people are taking away rights? From whom? Yikes.
If it is false, then for the good of society, and especially for the good of the poor people.
This is some wild, like, fascist rhetoric. Because it attempts to have a veneer, like a very poor veneer, a thin veneer of kind of like a class element to it somehow. Except this doesn't make any sense. What does class have to do with this? Alia with the 11 biddies, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Wild.
Who have fallen prey to this confusion. Transgenderism must be eradicated from public life entirely. The
Yikes.
whole preposterous ideology.
So, red flag. Again, first of all, like props to David for like playing out like the complete context of the whole clip, so that there can be no mistake as to what he's talking about. The what now? Let's watch the crowd? You fall prey to unemployment? Oh, you mean that... you mean, that you hope he gets unemployed? No. The Daily Wire endorses this kind of stuff.
At every level.
When you're
So, just to be clear,
Business
again,
rooms?
he says that this must be eliminated, eradicated at every level. What do you think that means? And earlier, he said that it must be eliminated or eradicated. You used the words eradicate. From public sphere? So what, like trans people are just like not allowed to exist? I mean, like, this was very, eerily close, to the type of rhetoric. This was very eerily close to the type of rhetoric, in Nazi Germany.
So here you have a conservative commentator calling for genocide. Now I'm going to get to his defense, which is just absolutely ridiculous. These people will never own up to what they actually say.
Yeah, and like, right, so what he tried to, what he tried to backpedal or save face with is saying that, I'm not talking about the people themselves, I'm talking about the ideology or whatever. Bro, it's you feeling a certain way, or you know that, inside that you're a certain way, or you feel attracted to, in terms of sexuality, you feel attracted to the sex that you feel attracted to. That's not an ideology. Your identity is not an ideology. So the only natural conclusion is that you do want to eradicate these people. You do want to eradicate trans people.
But first here, in case you're curious about the failed actor portion of Michael Knowles, I'm not going to bother playing it because why would I want to watch a failed actor? But here he is. This is according to this Reddit post, terrible Michael Knowles acting performance in a short horror film from 2013. So you can see him there in the middle. I will link to this below the video in case you are morbidly curious about his failed acting career. But this is what a lot of these people do. They fail in what they want to do. Dave Rubin, for example, a failed comedian, turns conservative commentary. Ben Shapiro, both his parents work in Hollywood. He tried to write scripts, tried to make, movies, and that failed, so he became a conservative commentator. This is an ongoing theme with these people. Michael Knowles, another one, but here you have someone calling for the extermination of transgender people. Now, his defense is amazing. So he quote tweets the Rolling Stone headline here, the headline which says CPAC speaker calls for transgender people to be eradicated.
No, not CPAC speaker. Michael Knowles, specifically, as well. Like it'd be nice if they like put his name front and center, just so that people don't forget who this who this fucker is. But anyways,
And then they literally quote him: "For the good of society, transgenderism must be eradicated from public life entirely." That's a direct quote. And
Right. It's a direct quote, and he goes a step further and says it must be eradicated at all levels. And he made a mention of, again, transgenderism, the ideology, except your identity is not an ideology. Hey, Bipedal Meatbag, how's it going? I'm sure they don't name him because that gives him more attention. Yeah, I guess. I guess.
And he replies to that saying, "This headline is libelous, and I demand a retraction." You just saw the video. This is what he said. But what he's trying to say is, well, transgenderism is different than calling to eradicate transgender people somehow, when it's not any different. Just own up to the fact that you are a sociopathic fascist.
Yeah, and like the fact that like you want to try to play these like semantic games and you want to like start performing Olympic levels of mental gymnastics to avoid any accountability for the heinous shit you're calling for. Like, come on, dude.
Just own your words. And to try and claim libel when his literal quote is in the headline could not be more insane. But Rolling Stone, I don't know if you want to say capitulated. I don't know if this is a capitulation, but they did change their headline to this: CPAC speaker calls for eradication of transgenderism and somehow claims he's not calling for the elimination of transgender people. So this, I have nothing wrong with this headline change. You know, you could maybe claim here that they gave in to his threat of libel, but they're giving more context here, and it's not making him look any better. So this from Brandon Friedman here, who he really makes it clear: transgenderism must be eradicated from public life, quote unquote, versus transgender people must be eradicated is a meaningless distinction to the historically literate. Nazis very specifically began excluding German Jews from public life years before
Holy
the first
shit. Yeah, like I didn't even pre-watch this video, nor, you know, no, I pretty much like drew the eerie similarities as to the rhetoric that this fucker was using, because I've seen it before. Okay? I've seen it before.
Extermination camp. And to quote the encyclopedia here, during the first 6 years of Hitler's dictatorship, from 1933 until the outbreak of war in 1939, Jews felt the effects of more than 400 decrees and regulations that restricted all aspects of their public and private lives. So even if you want to, I don't know, agree with Michael Knowles in his defense here, that he's not calling to eradicate transgender people, this is how it starts.
Yeah, like not only that, like, again, it is a semantics game that he is trying to play to avoid any social backlash or any consequences. So he attempts to perform these Olympic levels of mental gymnastics to try to say, well, I didn't talk about people, I talked about transgenderism, the ideology. Well, the issue here is, once again, your identity is not an ideology. So one can only conclude that, yeah, dude, you do mean trans people. That's the only conclusion that I can derive from that. Oh, shoot.
Activist and writer tells Rolling Stone from the Now, from the Rolling Stone piece here, Erin Reed, a transgender rights activist and writer, tells Rolling Stone that it's an absurd distinction. There is no difference between a ban on transgenderism and an attack on transgender people, she says. They are one and the same. There's no...
And like, even if you wanted to take like 5 seconds to like entertain this attempt, okay, even to entertain this attempt at, you know, defending some heinous rhetoric, what is the difference? What is the difference? Can you explain that to me? Because that's the first thing that I would ask. If you seriously think that you are trying to make a difference, what is the difference here?
Separation between them. Knowles and others at the Daily Wire, including anti-trans activist Matt Walsh, are not just talking about keeping transgender people out of public life. They're actively working to make it happen, Reed says.
Right, and like the other day, like Matt Walsh is the same. Is the same. He was talking about how, you know, it's basically like self-defense. Hold on, let me. You know, it's better if I just take it from his words directly. Let me see.
She noted their support for bills to deprive transgender people of gender-affirming medical care, bans on using public bathrooms, and targeting of live performances by trans individuals. Quote, if you try to separate us from all the things that allow people to experience the world, that does amount to banning transgender people's existence, says Reed, a transgender woman. You can't go your whole life without using the bathroom, without telling a joke on stage in front of friends, without your medicine. All of that amounts to a ban on transgender people. So, look, I always wonder, do I really need to explain some of this stuff? But in case there is any confusion, there's your explanation. Now, it's also worth just highlighting, by the way, in the past, in other videos, I don't have it here, I probably should have brought it up, but I have showcased just the amount of anti-LGBTQ legislation that is being introduced and in many cases passed within the US, and the number is in the hundreds. We're talking about hundreds of bills that are being brought up to, in some way, restrict the lives of LGBTQ people and especially trans people. So this is not some, you know, oh, he's just saying something stupid on stage for attention. No, this is actually happening. Now, I think it's worth giving context here in terms of how many people we're talking about. Because this is like, right, at the moment, the number one talking point from conservatives is this anti-transgender bullshit. So I got this from the UCLA School of Law, Williams Institute. I'll link to this below the video. But they go on to showcase here the population, and I think this is estimates of how many transgender people are actually in the country. But here you have 13 to 17 accounts for 1.43%, but basically all adults 18 plus 0.52%. So we are talking about a sliver of the population, and this is the focus of conservatives. Whether it's politicians, whether it's media, they are using this as the boogeyman to try and get people scared that this is, I don't know, somehow coming for you. They're going to turn you into a man or a woman. Like, it's so absolutely ridiculous. On its face, it's ridiculous. And for years, there was nothing about this. At least not to the extent that there is now, in terms of the focus from the conservative media and politicians. But now it's this big thing. It's their entire focus because they have no actual agenda. When it comes to any issue, and to be clear, this is an actual issue. Like this is in terms of trans people and their ability to exist. That is an issue. It's not a culture war issue. It is an issue of human rights and human decency. But in terms of being able to offer anybody anything, what does the right offer? What does anybody on the right have an actual policy prescription for anything?
No, it's not. It's all a bunch of bullshit. It's all a bunch of bullshit culture war nonsense designed to, how should I say, evoke the feelies, regardless of the facts. In their followers. That's the whole point. The Republican-packed Supreme Court is poised to gut the funding of the CFPB. Yeah, I'm not surprised if that happens. Elections have consequences, folks.
Whether it's low wages, whether it's income inequality, whether it's healthcare, whether it's schools, all of their entire agenda is fear-mongering. It's
right.
Turning issues of human rights and human...
Correct. It's all fear-based. It's all feelies-based. It's to evoke an emotion. No actual policy prescriptions. If you ask any of these clowns, what they would do for healthcare, not a clue.
Human decency into culture war issues in a bid to try and scare people out to vote for them. And Michael Knowles has now hit what I think is clearly the extreme in terms of the language, but at least at this point they're being honest. And there is no longer any ability to deny what they are about.
There was a time.
Yeah. Well, I've been trying to find the, quote. But yeah, quick scroll through, through his Twitter is all you need to know, really. But the point is, like, he tried to make the argument, Matt Walsh tried to make the argument that, like, if anything happens, it's because you made us do it. It's like a self-defense thing. And then it's like, yeah, dude, Hitler also spoke that way. In fact, it was like a direct quote from Mein Kampf that, we must act, you know, in this manner because this is self-defense. Hey, Bup Dragon, how's it going? I know this is depressing. I just found out about the anti-drag laws in the GOP. The Arizona's trying to pass. Luckily, Hobbs will veto them, but still. Oh yeah, no, this is not going to stop. Not with people like, you know, Matt Walsh and this fucking clown Knowles and the Daily Wire that gives them a huge platform. Yeah, no, this is not going to stop. And like, you know that these people are having a palpable effect. Because they're right there. They're literally present at the signing of these bills. I'm trying to find what exactly the tweet was. What a fucking piece of shit. The right will say, if you think I'm a racist, just wait till the real racists show up. Right, yeah. Cyndi Lauper compares hateful Republicans to anti-LGBTQ legislation how Hitler started, said it's just weeding everybody out. Yeah, basically the type of rhetoric that we're seeing from these folks is eerily similar. Eerily similar. Anyways, I was trying to find that one particular tweet, but that's okay. Whatever. It's not a... That's not important. Alright, let's switch gears here. Texas sued by women who say state's abortion ban just put their health at risk. Several women who say Texas abortion bans pose a significant risk to their health have sued the state this week, opening up a new front in the legal battles that have emerged since the Supreme Court overturned the national abortion rights protections last year. 5 women allege in the lawsuit that uncertainty around when medical emergency exemptions in Texas abortion law exacerbate medical emergencies that put their lives, health, and fertility in danger. True! To the extent Texas abortion ban bars the provision of abortion to pregnant people to treat medical conditions that pose a risk to the pregnant person's life or a significant risk to their health, the lawsuit said this ban violates pregnant people's rights under the state constitution's provisions protecting fundamental rights and the right to equality. The lawsuit is not seeking to block Texas abortion bans outright. Rather, the women, who are joined by 2 medical providers in the lawsuit, asked the court to clarify that abortions can be performed when a physician makes a good faith judgment that the pregnant person has a physical emergent condition that poses a risk of death or risk to their health, including their fertility. The women's complaint details harrowing stories of being denied abortion care when they faced emergency complications, which were all wanted. They filed the suit on Monday evening in the state court in Austin, Texas. Well, we'll see how that goes. Hey, Hambliss, how's it going? Good to see you too. I saw this. I don't understand why this wasn't the first lawsuit. I mean, sometimes things, especially in the courts, take a while. Who knows? Who knows? Texas its Attorney General Ken Paxton and the Texas Medical Board and Executive Director Stephen Brent are listed as defendants in the lawsuit. A spokesperson for Paxton in a statement said he's committed to doing everything in his power to protect mothers, families, and unborn children. Oh my god. I can't believe these people. Anyways, unborn children. Take all the time you need with that one. And will continue to defend and enforce the laws duly enacted by the state legislature. The spokesperson Paige Wiley also pointed to guidance Paxton issued after last year's Supreme Court ruling that said the states trigger laws that protect women facing life-threatening physical conditions resulting from pregnancy complications. A spokesperson from the state medical board did not respond for comment. Governor Abbott also did not immediately respond for comment. I think it's part of the Fox settlement we all know is coming. They should force Fox to actually cover this story. Wait, what? The January 6th insurrection? Or the election story? Yeah, I mean, like, who knows? They might just like fall back on like the classic. It's it's not real news or whatever. Defense. Who knows? Who knows if that'll work this time? Because clearly, there was intent and knowledge that what they were doing was not only harmful, but bullshit. So I don't know. Who knows? If you ask, if it was an ideal scenario, Fox News would burn the total of the 1.6 billion or whatever, plus whatever else in damages. Fuck them. Texas, which is arguably the most aggressive abortion restrictions in the country, has been the site of several legal battles over abortion since the Supreme Court overturned Roe last June. A challenge that predated the ruling to Texas's 2021 civil enforcement abortion ban, which allows private civil lawsuits against anyone accused of facilitating abortions after a fetal heartbeat is detected, which is around 6 weeks into pregnancy, also went to the Supreme Court. The justices allowed the law to stay in effect even though at the time Roe was still on the books. Texas also preemptively sued last year to block guidance from the Biden administration that instructed healthcare providers that federal law obligated them to provide abortion care in medical emergencies. A federal judge sided with Texas and halted the enforcement of the guidance, which threatened civil penalties and conditioned federal funding on compliance in the state. That's right, it's not about blue or red, it's about green. Actual supervillain Murdoch. We went over that article. This is wild. Wild how brazen that is. Like, and not only that, I mean, if you're some kind of like conservative or Fox News viewer, I mean, how does it feel to be nothing more than a pawn? Did you hear about the many people complaining about Tucker's special? Oh yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. We'll get to that story. Yet inconsistencies in language of these provisions, the use of non-medical terminology, and sloppy legislative drafting have resulted in understandable confusion throughout the medical profession regarding the scope of this exception. The lawsuit also highlights a letter from civil enforcement ban's legislative sponsor to the head of the Texas Medical Board, raising concerns about reports that women facing dire health emergencies from their pregnancies were being denied care that the lawmaker said was covered by the exception in the state abortion code. Texas law makes it clear that a mother's life and major bodily function should be protected. Any deviation such as these allegations should be investigated as potential malpractice, and a non-physician, including hospitals, instructing a physician to act should be investigated as a prohibition on the corporate practice of medicine. The August 2022 letter from Republican State Senator Brian Hughes said he asked the board to issue guidance on this issue. It remains to be seen what kind of success the Monday's lawsuit will have. The Texas State Supreme Court, which is typically the final arbiter of whether state law complies with Texas Constitution, has ruled in favor of Texas abortion restrictions in previous disputes that went up to the High Court. That's why I say force Fox to cover their own story, the actual story. Yep. I mean, tell the truth for once. Imagine having to like actually have a modicum of journalistic integrity just for one time. The women who brought the lawsuit, all Texas residents, say they experienced irreparable harm, including emotional trauma and risks to their physical health, because the hoops they had to jump through to obtain the care that they needed. One plaintiff in the lawsuit, Amanda Zurowski, said she was forced to wait until she was septic to receive abortion care because one of her fallopian tubes, causing one of her fallopian tubes to become permanently closed. As Zurowski and her husband previously told CNN, she became pregnant after a year and a half of fertility treatments, but after 18 weeks into the pregnancy, well before the point of viability, her water broke and she was told by her doctor that the baby would not survive, according to the account. However, her doctors told her that they would not terminate the pregnancy until she was considered sick enough that my life was at risk. So, like, yeah, dude, you have to, like, borderline be dying in order for you to receive the care that you need. And, like, clearly, that has other permanent repercussions. If you ask me, cruelty is the point. They're actually proud the UN is criticizing our human rights over abortions. Fucking ghouls. Fucking ghouls, the lot of them. However, her doctors told her that she could not terminate the pregnancy until she was considered sick enough that my life was at risk, as she recounted to CNN last year, adding that she could not take hours, that could take hours, days, or even weeks. Zurowski and her husband decided they could not risk the several hours it would take to travel to another state where the abortion would be available. When she fell under a fever that spiked to 103 and began exhibiting signs of sepsis, her doctors felt that they could legally induce labor without violating. Imagine this scenario. Holy shit. This is dystopic. This is unbelievably dystopic. Without violating coming to you or brought to you by the party of small government, folks. Brought to you by the party of small government, the party of individual freedom, the party of liberty. It's all bullshit. Without violating the Texas abortion law, according to this lawsuit. However, she went on to develop a secondary infection and septic shock, and her family flew into Austin, Texas, fearing she could die. While eventually she recovered, the infections caused damage to her reproductive organs. Another plaintiff in the lawsuit, Lauren Miller, was pregnant with twins, but learned through testing that one of the fetuses had multiple fetal abnormalities that made it highly unlikely that it would survive to birth. Yeah, like this is exactly the type of outcomes that conservatives are fine with. They're completely fine with putting people through this. Cruelty is the point. Control, power. According to her lawsuit, her specialist suggested she travel out of state, but evaded giving her and her husband direct answers to their questions. It was apparent that the doctors, nurses, and counselors were fearful of speaking directly and openly about abortion for fear of liability under the Texas law. Miller ultimately traveled to Colorado to obtain a so-called selective reduction, a procedure to abort the likely non-viable fetus to preserve the health of the other fetus and mother. And Miller is now due to deliver the other fetus this month. Like, you see, like, this person didn't even want to abort their child. It's just that, like, you know, it happened. So it just so happened that there was enough fetal abnormalities that she was told that it would not survive. And these assholes essentially created a scenario where she could have lost the other one, or maybe put her own life in danger and the potential life of the other fetus that she did want. So don't talk to me about pro-life, okay? There's no such thing as pro-life, as a pro-life movement, okay? It's not pro-life. That's a misnomer, okay? That is a complete misnomer. Yeah, lock her up. The party of bodily dictatorship, exactly. Or just dictatorship in general, to be quite frank. The third plaintiff, Lauren Hall, traveled to Seattle for an abortion after being told that in an 18-week scan that her fetus had a condition that gave it no chance of survival. She was told that the condition, according to the lawsuit, posed risk of hemorrhage and preterm birth, among other risks. Again, this is someone who probably wanted the child. And now, because of conservatives, Republicans, they put her at risk for health conditions. Cruelty is the point. Oh, man. Wow. Talk about ironic, bipedal meatbag. I got your link. These sick mofos probably think in eugenics terms, like if the woman died during pregnancy, there must be something defective with them, so they think that they're not good. It's good that they're not passing on their genes. Who knows? I mean, who knows? I found the pedos that Q was looking for, right? It turns out it was them. What is it, folks? Every accusation is just a confession, folks. That's how it works. Yeah, Bub Dragon. It's about control. Yeah, I mean, it's probably as simple as that. They simply like the idea that they get to tell what, you know, they get to determine the rules, and they get to determine what you do with your body, right? Oh, that's just how they gotcha. But she says her specialist in Texas would not give her information about other options or even transfer her medical records to an abortion provider. In that case, I accuse you of being a handsome genius. Ah. Hold on, I have a soundboard for that.
Please clap.
There you go. The fourth plaintiff, Anna Zargarian, said in the complaint that at 19 and a half weeks into a pregnancy, her water broke. She was diagnosed with preterm premature rupture of membranes and was told that her fetus would not survive to birth. Again, this was the fourth person that probably wanted this child, this potential child, and, well, medical circumstances would have deemed an abortion appropriate. Even as the doctor said the recommended treatment was abortion, she couldn't get it because of conservatives. That's it. These are real, palpable ripple effects of what happens when these pieces of shit win elections, okay? This is a real and palpable, in-your-face consequence. As to what happens when these absolute fucking ghouls win elections, win power. Yeah, the Supreme Court. Because the fetal heartbeat was still detectable, according to the lawsuit. Eventually, she obtained the procedure in Colorado, but now faces fear of becoming pregnant in Texas again because she has been told she will be at high risk of developing conditions linked to the, aforementioned condition, PPROM, the lawsuit says. You have a person who literally is scared to become pregnant. In other words, well, she would like to, but if this situation happens again, well, better hope you have enough to go to Colorado. You better hope. The point is to eliminate bodily autonomy because it's about control. That's it. It's about control. Don't have me for sounding like a lib, but elections matter. They do. They do, and I think that I think that it is a tool. While you can't expect a political party to solve the problems here because clearly the Democratic Party is not your friend. But elections can be a tool. And there's utility in at least attempting to slow down these authoritarian fucks, these fascist ghouls that have no problems using everything at their disposal to pick apart any semblance of rights, any semblance of bodily autonomy, right? They did. And they're not going to stop at just this. They're not going to stop. Look at what's happening with all the anti-LGBTQ legislation. We have literally Michael Knowles calling for the eradication of transgenderism. What do you think that means? Listen, you don't have to like the candidates, okay? You don't even have to agree. with the Democratic Party. You don't even have to like the Democratic Party. How's that? I'm just saying, it's a tool, and we should use it. Then his rationale for that, for why that wasn't calling for genocide, is because basically he doesn't believe trans people exist. Correct. His attempt was to say, well, like, I can't genocide anybody that doesn't exist. Well, then you've already done it in your head. You kind of gave it away. That's worse. What is that meme? You do know how that's worse, right? Like that meme. That's some serious mental gymnastics. He deserves a medal. Oh yeah, no. The Olympic, the mental gymnastics necessary to attempt to apply a thin veneer to hide your absolute ghoulish intentions is on the Olympic levels. But make no mistake. Make no mistake. He means what he said. Okay, he absolutely meant what he said. Because, like, even if you try to, like, you know, out of the sake of curiosity to try to entertain it for 5 seconds, it really just kind of falls apart by asking the simple question, well, what do you mean by transgenderism? As if playing some, like, silly game of semantics is gonna save you from, like, the ghoulish intentions. Is gonna hide your ghoulish intentions. Right, like we're supposed to believe that all these assholes have no idea what they're saying or how they sound ever. Yeah, exactly. Like make absolutely no mistake. He absolutely means what he said. What you heard is exactly what he wants to do and will do and is currently actively working to do. Okay? Yeah, I don't want to genocide Christians. I just don't want them to force them to never practice or mention Christianity or never be out in public or make sure that there's a federal ban on Christian. Like, come on, man. You know what I mean? Whatever. Fucking piece of shit. But yeah, like I said earlier, the proper way of handling it is just to say, like, it's just to say, like, the way you identify is not an ideology. So what you're saying doesn't make sense. Okay? What you're saying doesn't make sense. If you're talking about, like, transgenderism ideology, the way you identify and the way you present is not an ideology. An identity is not an ideology. My only natural conclusion from that is that you do mean the people. For those of you who have studied history, massive alarm bells should be ringing. That's all I gotta say. As long as they do it in their own homes. Yeah. The fifth plaintiff, Ashley Brandt, says she faced complications in a pregnancy with twins, during which one fetus had conditions that were putting the other fetus at risk. Though she ultimately was able to obtain the selective abortion in Colorado, according to the lawsuit, she faced other complications that at one point sent her to the emergency room where she felt distinct uneasiness and confusion. Again, this is someone who wanted who wanted the children. And these fucking ghouls forced her to go to a completely other state, denying the healthcare that she needs. That she needed. Unfucking believable. Let's put it this way. Do you want the GOP with more power and the Trump saying I'm your... Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's really about trying to pump the brakes on that. Because once they cross that line, about eliminating bodily autonomy, eliminating your choice of self-determination, all bets are off, folks. If these fuckers don't fundamentally believe in the right to self-determination for everybody, and they don't believe fundamentally in bodily autonomy, all bets are off at that point. Alio with the 11 biddies, thank you so much. I appreciate the support. Think about it. The same applies. The same applies for the anti-LGBTQ legislation. They fundamentally do not believe in the right to self-determination. They don't believe in bodily autonomy. All bets are off. Yeah, so just to touch up on that. Yeah, no, I want the GOP out, gone, done. I don't know if you're curious about anything because you keep coming here, but whatever, dude. Bodily autonomy, appeal, and how far you go with it relative to abortion. Does bodily autonomy argument equate to a no restriction at all on abortion? Yeah, dude, you know what? Fuck you. Yeah, there should be no restrictions as to what you do to your body, and regardless, you have no right, and you are not entitled to anybody's body, okay? Period. Full stop. So, like, the debate ends right there. The debate ends right there. Fundamentally. You are not entitled to anybody's body, okay? Full stop. So, the abortion debate, as far as that is a debate, it's fundamentally about bodily autonomy. Everybody has the right to self-determination. In other words, you get to choose what to do with your body so long as it doesn't affect others. An important addition to the concept of bodily autonomy is that you're not entitled to anybody's body, period. Even in death. Okay? Even in death. You must have explicit consent. Usually, when you sign like your driver's license or whatever, to even harvest your organs. Okay? The government's only business here is to protect that right. If you have some weird moral objection, then don't have an abortion. You do not get to dictate what the rest of us get to do. It's that simple. It's really that simple. Anyways. So conservatives, again, this is a palpable example as to why voting conservative voting Republican is detrimental to these people. They forced these people to have to go out of state to obtain medical care that they needed. So it's not about pro-life at all. There's nothing pro-life about any of this. Okay? The majority of these plaintiffs wanted the children. Okay? But due to medical conditions or medical situations out of their hands, could not. One of which was permanently damaged because of conservatives' actions. So yes, voting conservative is detrimental. It's just not good. There's no reason to vote conservative. Here's the bodily autonomy argument is actually the radical extremist view for decades. It's not really that radical. It's not really that radical to say like you kind of choose what you do with your own body. There isn't a country in the world that allows unrestricted abortions, to be fair, as far as I'm aware, so bodily autonomy is not absolute. In my worldview, quite, like, it's basically that simple. You get to choose what happens with your body. I mean, full stop. And you are not entitled to anybody else's body. Until it comes to, these are completely different scenarios. You completely did not listen to me. You didn't listen to me at all. No, you just didn't listen to me at all. What was that very important distinction that I made? To be honest, I've never encountered anyone who supports an unrestricted abortion access without any limitations. It's a very rare minority. Yeah, essentially, like, the reason why is because, like, it's a moot point. It's a moot point to discuss because, like, generally speaking, and like if you're actually an honest actor, generally speaking, when you're talking about like abortions, if you're talking about like a pregnancy that it's like already, you know, advanced, even second trimester, third trimester, chances are the person wants the child, unless there's some like medical emergency, like in these cases, in these 4 cases, unless there's like a really bad medical emergency, chances are that person wants the child. So there's no point in arguing there. Unless you're in the military, there's no mandated vaccinations. Exactly. Well, no, not by the government. You're not being an honest actor. The vast majority of people take on sense of Washington in the middle, where they accept abortions early with a few limitations, and later ones when they endanger women. Right. The whole point was that Roe was supposed to be, Roe v. Wade was supposed to be the compromise, and these people crossed the line. People like this guy in chat. People cross the line. And at that point, if you do not believe in that fundamental like right to self-determination and bodily autonomy, all bets are off. Anyways, whatever the fuck, you're not listening to me. Okay? These are not comparable situations. These are not comparable situations. Because if you had actually listened to me, I said a very specific point, which is you get to choose what you do with your body, so long as it doesn't affect anybody else, because then you're violating their bodily autonomy. So if you are going around and being an asshole, spreading a cold or I don't know, whatever. If you're being an asshole, okay, and spreading something, because you refused to get a vaccine, and you are putting other people at risk, you do not have that right. It's only negotiable for women because chuds see them as baby machines. Exactly. 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 So you get to choose to what you do with your body so long as it does not affect others. Anyways. I see you're having trouble coming face to face with the consequences of decisions that I'm sure you voted for. I'm sure that you belong to the party that you voted for this shit. But the consequences are real. And, you know. She was ultimately able to obtain the selective abortion in Colorado. She faced other complications that at one point sent her to the emergency room, where she felt a distinct uneasiness and confusion. It appeared that that the medical staff they thought they were not supposed to know about Ashley's abortion or discuss it with her. The lawsuit said, adding that the remainder of her pregnancy was plagued by fear and stress. She ultimately delivered a healthy baby at 30 weeks into the pregnancy. Right, this person wanted to have this child. This person wanted to have this child, and these ghouls forced this situation upon her. Not only threatening her health and her life, but the life of ultimately what became the child that she wanted. The other surviving twin. Literally, they see the fetus first and all else, including the women's life second. Even if, and that's a big if, and that's super effed. Yeah, 100%, 100%. That's a big if. In a statement, Vice President Kamala Harris praised the lawsuit, saying it demonstrates that the fears about the harm patients would experience as a result of Texas' extreme laws had turned it into a reality. Yes, because this is the point. This is cruelty, control is the point. Cruelty and control is the point. There's nothing pro-life about this. Anybody that tells you otherwise is just simply lying. Or under the delusion. Somehow they have performed these mental gymnastics to justify this shit. The lawsuit includes devastating first-hand accounts of women's lives almost lost after they denied the health care that they needed because of extreme efforts by Republicans and conservatives to control women's bodies. That's it. That's it. That's it. It's that simple. It's that simple. The QAnon queen. Let's talk about this. Meme queen wants Trump to help her convicted pedophile son. Ah. Yeah. For the last 5 years, Deborah Sullivan has been at the forefront of the QAnon movement, fighting a non-existent Democratic cabal, running a child sex trafficking ring as a self-described QAnon meme queen. She has produced more than 4,500 memes about conspiracy, many of them focusing on former President Trump, who she believes is secretly working to save the children. Yeah. Anytime men comment on abortion and say they're pro-life, just ask them about periods or any bodily function. That is not default to men. Oh yeah, no. This is why my arguments are as simple as can be. This is why my arguments are as simple as can be. This is about the right to bodily autonomy and self-determination. And if you have some weird moral, objection, get fucked. Don't have one. You just don't get to tell people what they can and cannot do. You don't get to tell other people what they can and cannot do. It's as simple as that. The government's only business in this scenario is to protect that right. That's it. It's to protect that right. How is that simple when you caveat both bodily autonomy and self-determination? What? What are you talking about? Are you okay? I'm talking about bodily autonomy, the right to self-determination. You get to choose what happens with your body. Do I have to spell it out for you? Listen, bro, it's very simple. It's very simple. If you need the healthcare, if you're in a situation and you need the healthcare, and fucking, you cannot obtain that because the government has decided that they're gonna take that away from you. That's what's fucked. My Sky Daddy can beat. Listen, bro, it's very simple, okay? It's very simple. Do you agree? Are you okay with the outcomes of these situations? Are you okay with the outcomes of the situations that are happening in Texas? Yeah, until it's on purpose, Bob Dragon. It's on purpose because they cannot reconcile the consequences of their actions. You cannot reconcile to the both of them because in both cases they had to abort. They had to abort. So how can you square that circle? In these situations, they had to have the option. They had to have the option. You know, the choice. Which is the entire crux of the argument of being pro-choice. The right to have that bodily autonomy. To say, look, I am going to make a decision for myself. But here, they're being forced to go to other states. All right, look, Liz, it's very simple. Here's a question. Did you vote Republican? I vote for both. That's not. You're not answering my question. So let me rephrase that. Did you vote for Donald Trump in 2016 as an example? No? Okay. So, do you support the Supreme Court decision that overturned Roe versus Wade? Do you support the Supreme Court decision that overturned Roe versus Wade? Dobbs was a correct decision. Okay, so you just fundamentally don't believe. So you're fundamentally okay with the outcomes that happened, right? You're lying to me. You're lying to me. You're saying that you don't agree with the scenarios, the results out of these laws, but yet you are okay with the decision that allowed these things to happen. So you're just simply okay without having these federal protections that would have essentially you don't agree with the law. Then why are you supporting the very framework that allows this to exist? You can't have it both ways. You supported the decision that allowed the framework and the environment for these things to be passed, and knowingly the Republicans were banking on that decision to then pass this, to then have the justification and framework to pass it. So yeah, you do. Much of this discussion comes down that there's no federal, there's no legal framework at the federal level for bodily autonomy. Correct, because in certain state constitutions, I think it was I want to say Kansas. Was it Kansas? I don't know. It was like Kansas or shoot. Can't be Kentucky. That actually has that kind of protection. That actually had that protection, and that's why conservatives couldn't pass the anti-abortion measurements. A judicial error and improperly removed from political process, an important public, that's why it needed to be overturned. Right, so you expected Congress to do this? So you actually do support a federal law that guarantees a pro-choice scenario. So then you actually don't really disagree with me at all. So if tomorrow a law that was passed essentially giving the right to choose, you would be in favor of that. So then we don't disagree. So then why are you trying to create an argument where there is none? There are clearly some similarities in what Democrats and Republicans believe in regards to abortion cases. Yeah, I don't know, Bob Dragon. I think it would be better if both sides focus more on the similarities rather than try to blame and shut down. It's actually a good thing that people share ideas and should be voiced to the members of Congress properly. It depends on what those ideas are. It depends on what those arguments are. In a rational, normal, ideal society, yeah, we would have this ability to exchange ideas, but I don't know. The bodily autonomy argument is just simply the pro-choice argument. You should be able to choose what you do with your body. I don't understand where the difficulty is or the disconnect. It's not that difficult. There's no there is not that deep. Republicans really need to stand up and show a position to the people they elect. If they vote for these people and they genuinely believe they're representing their interests, and prove it. Write to your senator, ask them what they're standing for in a way of bipartisan in the way of a bipartisan law on abortion that's legally and constitutional. Yeah, but they're not interested in that. That's the problem. That's the problem. They actually don't really want that. The politicians don't want that, and they sell and peddle effectively what becomes culture war issues to keep their base riled up and continuing to vote for them based on these bullshit. Ask like a Republican lawmaker what their plan for a federally for like a federal law with regards to abortion. They're just gonna say there should be a complete and total ban. The Dems had 50 years to make it into law, but it wasn't a priority when Obama had the supermajority. True, and that's on them. Yes. The other side, the more darker side of it, is to then acknowledge that maybe that's just what conservatives want. Maybe conservatives are okay with these outcomes. That's why they vote for them. Maybe conservatives and conservatism that's its natural conclusion. Maybe they are voting for this because they know. I'm trying to go over QAnon meme queen, but it's not letting me. Okay, here we are. Okay, so more than 4,500 memes. Okay, gotcha. The truth about crimes against children which have been committed worldwide will unite us all, she wrote on Facebook, alongside a meme featuring Trump appearing to save 2 infants from a variety of figures, including President Obama, and former Secretary of State and known adrenochrome drinker Hillary Clinton, Pope Francis, Queen Elizabeth, who was a central figure in the QAnon lore. But earlier this month, Vice has its own issues. If the SCOTUS had chosen to leave Roe v. alone, maybe the red wave would have happened. Maybe. Who knows? Earlier this month, when Sullivan's own son was convicted of repeatedly abusing his stepdaughter, her passion for saving the children seemed to disappear. Instead, she defended her son as, quote, innocent, blasted the justice system as crooked, and attacked the 12-year-old girl at the center of the case as a horrible liar. Interesting. Oh, shoot. There goes the page. Oh. No? Ah. Oh well. Maybe the red wave would have happened. Unlikely to GOP. Yeah, but abortion was a big part. Abortion was a part. It definitely was. There was multiple factors, but abortion was a big part. It was a chunk. It was a significant enough chunk of the variables that led to Democratic overperformance. I'm banned for traveling to Russia because of Vice, and they also put a lot of my friends in a dangerous situation multiple times. Yikes. Well, RIP. That article was not going anywhere. All right. Biden budget will propose tax increase to boost Medicare. President Biden, as part of his budget set for release on Thursday, will propose raising a tax on Americans earning more than $400,000 as part of a series of efforts to extend the solvency of Medicare by a quarter century. You could do that. You could raise taxes and make the groundwork for a more universal system that can be deployed by lowering the eligibility age slowly. But that's just me. Also, Vice's Murdoch Media Group, is it? I don't even know. There's like only a handful of companies that have it's not a monopoly, it's like an oligopoly on media. The president will also propose expanding that tax, which helps fund healthcare programs to cover a wide swath of income, including some earnings by business owners that are currently not subject to it. The White House official said in a fact sheet released on Tuesday that Biden will also seek to broaden a measure passed last year entirely with Democratic votes that allow Medicare to negotiate the prices of prescription drugs with pharmaceutical companies, which is projected to save the government money. Mr. Biden's plans are unlikely to become law. They're almost certainly to be rejected by Republicans who control the House and who roundly oppose tax increases. But in focusing with Medicare in the budget and ahead of its release, Mr. Biden's hoping to sharpen a contrast with Republicans and cast himself as a protector of a cherished retirement program, both for his likely re-election campaign and a looming congressional battle over rising limit that centers on taxes, spending, and debt. The budget I'm releasing this week will make Medicare trust funds solvent beyond 2050 by cutting pennies without cutting a penny in benefits. Mr. Biden wrote in an opinion piece, in fact, we can get better value by making sure Americans receive better care for the money they pay into Medicare. For the first time this year, Medicare will begin regulating the price of prescription drugs using the new powers Congress gave it in the Inflation Reduction Act, Tax, Health, and Climate Bill Mr. Biden signed. The president's budget highlights these substantial savings that the reform are expected to generate over time. The legislation allows Medicare to regulate price paid for certain expensive drugs that have once been on the market for several years. It also limits the amount of all drug makers that can raise the price of their drugs each year. Those reforms will save Medicare around $160 billion over a decade, according to the CBO. Whatever. The changes to prescription drug prices were accompanied by changes to Medicare's drug benefit that will also lower the cost of expensive drugs for Medicare's beneficiaries by capping the total amount that they can be asked to pay in a year for all their medicines, and by limiting co-payments on insulin to $35 a month. Mr. Biden will also propose expanding drug negotiations by allowing the government to negotiate over a broader universe of medication. The House estimates those changes and other tweaks to drug negotiation provision will save the government an additional $200 billion for 10 years, over 10 years, which it seeks to direct into the Medicare Trust Fund. Medicare's trustees estimate its hospital trust fund will be insolvent by 2028, absent congressional action. Republicans are unlikely to go along. They have attempted to overturn the entire Inflation Reduction Act, including drug negotiations, while some Republicans say will hamper innovation in the pharmaceutical industry. Yeah, whatever, dudes. They have also sought to roll back Mr. Biden's... You can't... Oh my god. You can't all have like these like big pharma... You can't like be complaining about big pharma this and big pharma that. And then want to play ball on their behalf. Whatever. They also have to sought to roll back Mr. Biden's tax increase on corporations and high earners. Mr. Biden's Medicare plan includes another increase, raising Medicare-linked tax on people earning above $400,000 annually to 5% from 3.8% and broadening the income subject to that tax. But the president did not propose any major new policies to reduce Medicare spending on healthcare in the coming years. His proposal, like his previous budgets, omits a series of policies meant to reduce waste that were featured in budgets offered by President Obama and Trump. Or we could move in the direction of having some type of universal healthcare system that is cheaper overall and doable. NHS is based. Indeed. I don't expect Biden to propose any kind of universal healthcare system. Since we're running slightly low on time, this one is just really quick. The French are being French, and as soon as their pensions were threatened, 1.2 million of them marched and are now threatening to do a national strike. Imagine like if that was a thing here. Imagine the things that a more militant labor could achieve. Make the National Health Service a part of the military and give it to all for free. Or, yeah, but you could also just do like the Bernie plan, which is just gradually lower the age of Medicare. Medicaid, I don't know, whatever. You get my point. Instead of 65, start lowering it, then make it to 60, and then 50, and then 40, and then, give it to everybody. A Medicare for all, if you will. I would take to the streets if you added 2 years onto my career. True. Just take it out of private hands and let the government negotiate costs that will bring the overall cost down. Yes, and also, if you had a national universal kind of system, you're also spreading the pool to hundreds of millions of people So yeah, the price is going to be cheaper. Anywho, this one, we're just gonna kind of paint the picture here. Um, the idea is to bring France to a standstill. The French really know how to party. That's for sure. You threaten their pension, and the entire country is at risk of shutting down. Correct. If the government didn't have to purchase all these drugs at massively inflated prices, which only happens because you have a private market, it wouldn't cost so much. All right. This was also a story that I was going to go over, but like I think we're just gonna like do this one very quickly. Governor Newsom has decided to sever ties with Walgreens after it announced that it would not distribute abortion pills in several states where abortion is legal. In other words, they're essentially, at the end of the day, companies are going to do what companies are going to do, which is protect their profits and anything that threatens them, they will absolutely kowtow to these extremists if they need to, as long as it protects the business. But I'm sure that you're gonna see Walgreens Twitter and social media talking about like Women's Month, celebrating Women's Months and whatnot. But yeah, they don't really give a shit. Do a dab. A dab, I'll show you what a dab is, okay? Here. And I'll do a proper one. And people, and only people get hurt, especially rural citizens with only one pharmacy near them. Yeah, they don't give a shit. It's that simple. They don't give a shit. As long as their line goes up, anything that threatens that don't matter. This is a dab, so I will now perform a dab for you. It's the Morton. There you go. That's a dab. Smart hiding behind chat. True, I didn't even intend that. Hold on. I will do it proper. I'll wait for chat to disappear there. There we go. Look. Check that out. I'll even do this way. How's it going, the simulacra? It's the Mort with 5 gifted subs. Holy yikes. Jesus. Thank you so much. I appreciate the support. Thank you. That is wild. Thank you so much. All right. The story of the day. The important story, I think. Tucker Carlson. We're going straight to the source on this one. I appreciate you, mate. Thank you so much. I appreciate the support. Exclusive January 6th footage say politicians and media lied about the cop and the QAnon shaman. Tucker Carlson released never before seen footage. First of all, wrong. We have seen, footage like this before. In fact, it was all over ProPublica, was it not? Was it ProPublica? What was the website that it compiled like a massive archive of all the streams and video? I'm pretty sure it was ProPublica that had like it had hundreds of hours that same day or that same week. It had hundreds of hours of footage that it gathered from the streams and whatnot during the insurrection. So to say that, never before seen, like, footage of people walking around. Yeah, dude, we did see this. The problem, are you ready for Tucker's superb BS? Yeah, like, the first thing that, like, we need to establish is the following. Why did Kevin McCarthy, instead of just releasing it to the public and let the public see it and make that determination, why did Kevin McCarthy feel the need to give exclusive access first to a known far-right propagandist? It's almost like it was actually really bad, and they needed somebody like Tucker to kind of start performing the Olympic levels of mental gymnastics necessary to sell this to their viewers. Remember, it's not about red or blue, it's about green, according to Rupert Murdoch. So anybody who watches Tucker Carlson or watches Fox News, you're just suckers, essentially. You're just suckers. Anyways. Never before released footage from the January 6th insurrection at Capitol Hill that appeared to dispel several narratives pushed by the Democrat-controlled House Select Committee and the legacy media. I'm sorry, where is this printed at? Oh, Fox News. Gotcha. Legacy media. Gotcha. Kevin McCarthy granted Tucker Carlson an exclusive look to over 40,000 hours of security camera footage. That were hidden from the public for over 2 years. On Monday, Carlson offered the first glimpse of the footage involving key figures from that day. Carlson concluded the footage proves that the lawmakers and media were lying about the events that took place on January 6th. The emote looks like a good thing. It means well played. It means good. It means GG. Awesome. Poggers. If you will. Does Fox News not fit into legacy news? I know. It's part of the memes, folks. It's part of the meme. The first batch. Right. We saw it. Alio. You're right. We did. We saw it live with our very own eyes. Jesus Christ. What is the saying from like 1984? Do not believe the evidence and whatever evidence. Man, I forgot the quote from 1984. The party's final and most essential command is to reject all the evidence from your eyes and ears. So yeah, basically we're being told to just kind of ignore what we all fucking saw. So yeah, dude, cool. Nice meme. The first batch of footage showed Trump supporters peacefully touring the building. Sightseers. Oh, okay, sightseers. Yeah, tourists. Like the same bullshit narrative that's been attempted to be shoved into willed into existence. Yeah, sightseers. Sightseers, sure. The same sightseers that managed to break through police lines. The same sightseers who felt the need to break windows, assault police officers. Those sightseers. The same sightseers who were assaulting police officers with flags, ironically, the American flag. Yeah, that's another good point. Like, even if they actually never ended up doing a single thing, like trespassing is still trespassing. So no, they were not they were not sightseers. They were not there as tourists. It's the adultery joke. Where are you gonna believe me or your lying eyes? Exactly. I was thinking more of like 1984 because, like, you know, the Republican Party is like basically the Ingsoc Party, right? They're literally telling you to just ignore reality, ignore what you saw, and just believe what we tell you. But the footage of rioters overwhelmingly consumed the news coverage of January 6th, in which many of DC have compared to a 9/11. And well, no, I would argue it's worse because this was incited by the president. Does this article smell like gas to you? Oh yeah, this is from Fox News. So I apologize. You may need to wear a respirator for the remainder of this stream. Okay, I forgot to do the disclaimer. I forgot to do the I forgot to do the content warning. You probably are going to need a respirator for the remainder of this stream. Sorry. And yeah, I figured that, like, we should just take it from the source so that there can be absolutely no confusion as to the intent here. But yeah, compared to Pearl Harbor, I would argue it's worse because this was incited by the president, the then president. Capitol Police were escorting the QAnon shaman around the building without incident. Doesn't mean that what he did was right. Carlson reported that officers were seen Chansley around, even though they were trying to open locked doors for him at one point. At least 9 police officers were seen in close proximity to Chansley. None of them slowed him down. That doesn't make it okay, first of all. Second of all, if that is the case, then shouldn't we be investigating as to why those police officers were just like chilling? I mean, unless like they had absolutely no choice, because at that point all the barricades were basically broken through. I mean, what could they do at that point? So that's the only like explanation that I can think of. Either they were complicit, or simply like, you know, there's like thousands and thousands of people here. They've already broken through like all the lines. We have no backup. we have no backup. And I'm not about to, you know, get assaulted, especially knowing that like the police officers outside trying to stop them did get assaulted. Someone gave them the order probably to chill, maybe, or maybe like out of self-preservation, maybe they decided that that was the only approach they had. Who knows? But yeah, if that's the case, then they should definitely be investigated too. Was arrested and federally charged for knowing and entering and remaining in a restricted building or grounds without lawful authority with a violent entry and disorderly conduct. Which, yeah, dude, it's on video. It's on video. I love that Tucker Carlson's defense is the cops are in on it. Yeah, and if this is true, then they should be investigated too. What? It's not the point you think it is. If this is true, and the cops were in on it, and the cops were allowing this to happen, the conclusion is not that this was okay. The conclusion is, what the fuck? What are we gonna do about these cops? The New York Post, which is a garbage publication as well, called the charges very sad and said the footage proves that he was harmless. Okay, proving that he was harmless, it doesn't mean he didn't commit the crime. Notice the difference. Notice the language there. At no point was, quote, very sad and footage proving that he was harmless does not exclude or does not exempt him from being charged with doing this. I guess maybe the New York Post is more careful than Fox News. Anyone who's in the Capitol because someone died, the charges should have gone way up. Yeah, I mean, you know, in an ideal scenario, where there's accountability, yeah, you know, you would see much more heavier consequences. You can see the way the people were walking to the Capitol. They're walking meekly, politely, queuing, very peaceable. It doesn't matter. They didn't mean any harm. How do you know that? They were assaulting police officers just moments before. It doesn't matter. They should not have been there. They were not allowed to be there. Regardless, that doesn't exclude the other minority protesters who did break windows and fight police. So wait a minute. So there was violence. The people are now being picked up, and some have been jailed without trial for months, even years on end. Hey, this is the justice system that people like you advocate for anyway. So I don't know what the complaint is. And they felt that they walked through the open doors. They were escorted by police, and they felt that this was okay. No, it's not okay. Just because you are ignorant of the law does not mean that you get to break it, and does not excuse the actions by the police then, if that's the case. The second batch of footage addressed the widely promoted narrative that by Democrats and the media that the events was a deadly insurrection. Yeah, it was an insurrection and people died, so I would say that that's deadly. And I would say that, yeah, insurrection does fit the bill, as we've done this numerous times. Time and time again. Yeah, the definition fits. People died, so it was deadly. Often citing the death of police officers, most of them died by suicide after the riot. So wait, whoa. So you're telling me that this mostly, like, that this peaceful, they were so peaceful and reverent in the Capitol, but also police officers suffered so much mental trauma that they committed suicide. Explain that one to me. Explain it to me. That is not better. The fact that these police officers suffered so much mental trauma not only is a testament to the severity of the events, but it drove them to suicide. But yeah, it was just a group of like sightseers. Yeah. Correct. Yeah, one person was shot. One person was trampled. Assault. Yeah, and didn't one person like fall? Yeah, anyways, so, yeah. Didn't somebody like fall because they tasered themselves and then like died? Anyways, yeah, dude, definitely insurrection. It fits. Oh, okay, so they had. Oh, okay, so they had a heart attack but lived. Okay, gotcha. So yeah, definitely insurrection and definitely deadly as people died. And this idea that, you know, oh, it wasn't really that bad. Really? Then explain to me how, like, the mental health of these police officers were deteriorated so badly that they committed suicide. Explain that one to me. Yeah, tourists who took down the U.S. flag and put up a Trump flag at the Capitol. Yeah, dude, very peaceful tourists who erected gallows. Who erected gallows and were calling for the hanging of Mike Pence. Yeah, dude. Very, very peaceful tourists, I'm sure. I'm sure that if somehow they managed to get their hands on Mike Pence, I'm sure that all they wanted was just to complete their tour and maybe get an autograph. Maybe they get an autograph at the end of their sightseeing. You know? However, one person who became a household name was officer. Yeah, like you're gonna really have to stretch to try to like, you know, hang on to this like one incident while desperately trying to, you know, divert people's attention. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, you got to perform whatever Olympic levels of mental gymnastics you need to sell it to your audience. Yeah, dude, the very peaceful the very peaceful and sightseers, the tourists who preemptively planned to have caches of weapons hidden stashed in a nearby state in Virginia. Yeah, dude. Is Fox back on defending this stuff? Oh, 100%. This is Tucker Carlson on his platform given to him by Fox. Yeah. So yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. Remember, SV Harkin, it's not red or blue, it's about green. Okay? If this gasoline sells, screw it. If this gasoline sells, screw it. They're going to do it to all the suckers who listen to this this garbage. To which then I ask, and I hope, James, if you're still in chat, I hope this kind of like illustrates the point that I was trying to make earlier, about like how like in a normal world, in an ideal scenario where people can talk to each other, I'm trying to say that like we're kind of past that, because how do we reconcile this? When one side of the political aisle is giving exclusive access to a propagandist to funnel and to launder this narrative to present to their audience. I mean, how do we do this? Does everyone forget about the 10 January 6 conferences and testimonies? And oh yeah, no, 100%. The evidence is there. Everything under actual testimony is there. We saw it. You're right, Alio. We saw it. Everything there. We saw from, well, most of us were able to see from beginning to end the testimony under oath of witnesses. I mean... They figured they're effed legally, so they might as well go down? No, I don't know. SV Harkin, I don't know, because Rupert Murdoch was very clear. It's about the green, so I don't know if that's the goal here. I think, if anything, they're more scared. They're more scared of losing viewers if they would actually come out and be like, look, guys, sorry, but this was wrong. And look, guys, the election wasn't stolen. And that would cut, into the green. To appease the freaks who voted against him. Yep, probably. Sicknick was seen walking normally while guiding Trump supporters out of the building as he wore a helmet, which appears to contradict the media narrative that he died of a head injury. This tape overturns the single most powerful and political useful lie. Bro, really? Really? How dramatic. The single most powerful and political useful lie that the Democrats told us? No, dude, it's on video, my guy. Even if this incident with the police officer never happened, let's take that aside, okay? Even if that incident never happened, are we just gonna ignore the entire like scenario here? Are we just gonna ignore that like already we've had several convictions for sedition? We've had several guilty pleas for sedition. We have several convictions for sedition, seditious behavior, whatever the seditious charges, whatever. Are we gonna ignore the communications between these groups who were literally planning to have? You can send that to me by whispers, Holy City. Send that to me by whispers. We're just gonna ignore the fact that there's like irrefutable evidence that these groups had caches of weapons. They found weapons at the insurrection too. Are we just gonna ignore that there was a concerted effort, pre-planned, to move in that direction, and that these groups were directly motivated by the president at the time? We're just gonna ignore that? Okay. Whatever, I don't care about this. They lied about the police officer they claimed to revere. If they were willing to do that, they dishonesty. Yeah, sure, dude. The dishonesty knew no limits. What's the saying, chat? Every accusation is just a confession. Tucker Carlson, known for telling the truth, right? Known truth teller, Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson has never been a reporter, only a commentator. Correct. Yeah, none of by the way, none of what Tucker Carlson says or does is news or is to be taken at face value. I mean, he said it, or his defense said it for him in the court of law under testimony. No reasonable person would actually believe anything he says. Really. So no reasonable person would think that any of this is any kind of real journalism or real news or anything like that. So if you do think that this is news, if you do think that Tucker Carlson is being truthful or is some kind of reporter or arbiter of truth, then the only conclusion is that you're unreasonable. Carlson, who was fled from the mob in a cowardly manner when the reality of the full footage shows that he was among several lawmakers who were rushed. Oh, so he was running. Okay. The clip was propaganda, not evidence of what? Besides, again, if this was such a sightseeing tour, if this was just a regular tourist, just they had reverence they have reverence for the Capitol and they were being peaceful and they were being whatever. Why did these lawmakers have to be removed? Why did these lawmakers have to be taken away by police? Why was Secret Service having to evacuate these folks? If they were just peaceful sightseers, tourists, why did they need to be evacuated? Why didn't these Republican lawmakers. Why didn't Senator Hawley go out there and meet them? It was a sightseeing tour. If that was the case, why weren't they there, meeting their own constituents? It's just a sightseeing tour. They're peaceful, right? That's interesting. DOJ has not done the investigations on the GOP members involved. Yep. Right, go greet the tour. Exactly. It's just a sightseeing tour, right? It's peaceful. What's the matter?
Where the fuck are they? Look, it's a PR war, okay? You have to understand it's an IO war. We can't lose the IO war. We're better than that. It's information operation.
Look at these peaceful sightseeing tourists taking, pictures of possibly sensitive documents. Maybe not. Maybe they are. Who knows? Who is this guy? It's an IO war? Yeah, well, they lost it. They lost it. That's for sure. Hey, I got a new sub. Nice. Yeah, you don't actively ransack anywhere you tour. Yeah, these are just look at all the sightseeing that's happening right now. Alia with another 13 biddies. Thank you. McCarthy and Tucker trying to control the vertical and horizontal. Oh yeah, no, this is exactly the point. This is exactly the point, Alio. That's the only reason Tucker Carlson got exclusive access to the 40,000 hours of security footage that they had, instead of just releasing it to the public. That is the only reason. It's because it's bad, and they needed Tucker Carlson, a professional propagandist, to launder this and paint the narrative and take control of the narrative. Yes. There are proper procedures for visiting the Capitol. None of them are... Oh, yeah, 100%. This wasn't... Yeah, let's continue to the sightseeing tour. Let's keep watching the sightseeing tour. These are things that happen when you sightsee. When I make reservations to tour the Capitol, this is exactly what happens. Taking pictures of possibly, whatever documents that it can get. Yeah, dude, I just sightseeing. Yeah, normal stuff. That's what I do when I go sightseeing. I try to go into restricted areas and take as many pictures. Yeah, look, more sightseeing. Look, when I go sightsee...
They don't fix this shit. We're gonna fucking one fucking day. Millions of Americans are armed.
Millions of Americans are armed. Yeah, dude. This is totally normal stuff. That when I go sightseeing, and when I do tours, yeah, that's what I do. I threaten essentially more insurrectionary behavior. That's exactly what I do. I also when I sightsee, one of the main things that you do is erect gallows and call for the deaths of politicians. Yeah. Normal things that happen during sightseeing. Let's continue through the sightseeing tour.
To protect the Constitution of the United States against enemies, foreign and domestic!
The irony of that statement. The irony of that statement.
Watch out!
Yeah, look, these are the very peaceful, reverent sightseers. Okay? Take that video, juxtapose that with what Tucker Carlson is trying to sell. Amazing. Yeah, this is the only time the crowd wore a mask in the entire span of the pandemic. True. The Griswolds visit the nation's capital. Jesus Christ, this is loud. I'm gonna lower this shit. More peaceful sightseers. Because when I go sightseeing, I usually bust down doors. I usually get a mob and bust down doors. That's also a thing that happens when I go sightseeing. You know? Yeah, just normal stuff. Yeah, see? When I sightsee, I also come at the direction of the president. I also come at the direction of the president, threaten the law enforcement there, because that was a threat. He said, there are more of us than you. You're outnumbered. Yeah, oh, sorry. Smashed out window, not door. I apologize. Yeah, more normal stuff that happens during sightseeing is when you smash windows into the place that you're sightseeing to get in, because that's the only entryway apparently. Yeah, when I go to museums or when I do like tourism, I make sure to break the window to get in, and then threaten the authorities who are waiting for me there, by saying that there's more of me than they are of them. There are more of us than there are of you. So yeah, this is normal things. And you know what? It kind of makes me feel like the reason why, like, a lot of these cops could have felt the need to just kind of like try to walk these people around, is because they had no other choice. I mean, it is possible that some of them were in on it. It is possible that some were sympathetic, but this guy kind of makes my point. There are more of us than there are of you, so what are you going to do about it? And I'm sorry, but I wouldn't blame them for not wanting to do anything, even though that's their job. We're peaceful, she says, as she just like, as the crowd just broke through the window and threatened law enforcement. Yeah, dude. Right, even if you mag them, but like you take down, yeah, exactly. The threat was there. Like, the threat was very clear. There are more of us than there are of you. What are you going to do about it? So, yeah, dude. I mean, there's your answer. They just get overwhelmed, exactly. Yeah, dude. When I do touring, I also try to peek through every door, just to make sure that I find any lawmakers that happen to be there.
You're afraid of Antifa? Well, guess what? America showed up!
Antifa.
There's not enough of us. They're going to bring feds in or something.
Is this the city?
Where the fuck are they?
Where the F are they? Referring to the lawmakers. Because, when you go sightseeing and touring, that's what you do. The dude with the beard is Baked Alaska. Oh, that's him? The guy just admitted that this isn't an Antifa crowd? Oh, yeah, 100%. Oh, the long gray beard. Yeah.
Where
While we're here, we might as well set up a government. So yeah. Cool. Anyways, let's continue.
People! Let's take a seat!
Nancy Pelosi.
Let's vote on some shit!
Whoever fuck is Nancy.
We paid for it.
Yeah, dude. Also, when I like to go toward the Capitol, I make sure to scream for the lawmakers of my political opponents in a threatening manner.
This is our house.
No, this is our chair.
I agree with you, brother, but it's not ours. It belongs to the Vice President of the United States when he's in here. It's not our chair. Look, I love you guys, you're brothers, but we can't be disrespectful.
Well, you already broke through the fucking windows and whatnot.
We're not putting up with that either. It's just, look, it's a PR war, okay? You have to understand it's an IO war.
Yeah, too late for that. Too late. What, didn't one of them smear, like, poop all over the place? Yeah.
IO war.
You know, also a normal part of sightseeing.
Information operation. We can't do it.
Just, you know, casually going through through documents that they're not supposed to be going through.
The Arizona's objection. He was going to sell us out all along. Really? Look, objection to counting electoral votes of the state of Arizona. Can I get a photo of that?
Wait, no, that's a
That's actually okay. All right.
Oh my god, these guys can't even fucking read the fucking motions. What a bunch of fucking clowns. They couldn't even read the motion. Oh my god. And let's say it did say that they were going to set a motion to agree that to certify the results. What were they going to do? Were they going to find him and do what? Yeah.
There's gotta be something in here.
They're probably tired from sightseeing, true.
Quit acting a fool, man! America's a republic. Oh no, this is good stuff. Hey! Quit acting a fool! No, this is good. This is all good. This is something's talking about good.
Yeah, hang Mike Pence.
He's a good one. Him and Lawler or whatever. Holy
Cruz, I think Cruz would want us to do this, so
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we're good.
I think Cruz would want us to do this, or Holly wanted to do it. So, like, how clear could it possibly be? How crystal clear could it possibly be?
Hey! Fucking hey, man. Glad to see you guys. You guys are fucking patriots. Look at this guy. He's got covered in blood. God bless you. You good, sir? Do you need medical attention?
I'm good, thank you.
All right.
I got shot in the face.
Yep, that's right.
Got shot in the face with some kind of plastic bullet.
Any chance I could get you guys to leave the Senate wing?
Honestly, super grateful for the staffer that grabbed that box that actually had the alert, the elector certification. That would have been a whole other. Oh yeah, you best believe that if these guys managed to get their hands on it, oh yeah, they would have gotten rid of it. Rafael Edward Cruz would approve of this in their eyes. So what does that say? What does that say? About 1.5 million in damages. Sheesh.
Well, I've been making sure they ain't disrespecting the place.
Okay, just want to let you guys know this is like the sacredest place.
I know.
Hey, no, I'm gonna take a seat on this chair because Mike Pence is a fucking traitor.
Yep.
I'm not one to usually take pictures of myself, but in this case, I think I'm making an exception. Hey, you and the Ray, can you take a picture of me? I'm throwing my phone.
Can you take a picture of me doing like the crimes and whatnot? Like, I want to make sure that when I get arrested, I want to make sure there's good, clear evidence of what I've done.
He's doing the right thing. He's obeying his oath.
Why are the cops not screaming at these people? Because they can't. Because they can't. You want the evidence against me to be rock solid? The guy, like a little bit earlier, said it. There's more of us than there are of you, and we're here on the orders of your boss, the president. So, I mean,
I'm making sure you guys don't do anything else. Now that you've done that, can I get you guys to walk out of this room, please?
yeah, and like he's just trying to be like, yo, can you like leave? I maybe there's like 5 of you here. I don't know. Oh no, I believe you, Alio.
Come on, man. Come on, man. This is our capital. Let's be respectful to him. There's 4 million people coming in, so...
No, there's not 4 million people, but okay.
It's only a matter of time. Justice is coming.
Over 4 million people are coming. Everywhere. All the way back to the monument. All DC. Jesus Christ! We invoke your name! Amen!
Oh Lord.
Let's all say a prayer in this sacred space.
Thank you, Heavenly Father, for
Yeah. Christianity, folks, huh? Where did they get their heads? Their heads.
Thank you, Heavenly Father.
Amen.
Ah.
For this opportunity to stand up for our God-given unalienable rights. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for giving the inspiration needed to these police officers to allow us in this building, to allow us to exercise our rights, to allow us to send a message to all the tyrants, the communists, and the globalists, that this is our nation, not theirs. That we will not allow the American way of the United States of America to go down. Thank you, divine, omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent Creator God, for filling
Well, he's not omnipotent. He's not omnipresent either. Right? That's not true.
chamber with your white light
And he is the he. So it's very humanistic. Oh man, these clowns.
of love, with your white light of harmony. Thank you for filling this chamber with patriots that love you and that love Christ.
If Jesus was real, he would totally think this is okay. Yeah, exactly. In their eyes.
Divine, omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent Creator God, for blessing each and every one of us here and now. Thank you, divine Creator God, for surrounding and filling us with your divine, omnipresent white light of love and protection, peace,
And what's so creepy is that they actually believe this.
harmony.
This is not an act. This is not an act by any stretch of the imagination. This is real to them.
Thank you for allowing the United States of America to be reborn. Thank you for allowing us to get rid of the communists, the globalists, and the traitors within our government. We love you and we thank you. In Christ's holy name we pray. Amen!
We've been ignoring mental illness as a country for a while. True.
And we appreciate what you're doing. We know you're doing your job.
More than 350 people believed to have committed violent acts on the Capitol grounds. Yeah, look, more, what is it that he called them? Sightseers. Look at them. 250 was assaulted police officers and are still sought by the FBI. 16 videos of suspects. Oh, yeah, no, there's hundreds of them. Yeah. Yeah, more tourists, more sightseeing. Look at it. Look at all the sightseeing that's happening. Look at that. Yeah, dude, when I go sightseeing, I make sure to, like, scream and yell at the cops. And assault them. Yeah, field trip. There you go. Nice little field trip, right? Yeah, dude. Also, during like field trips and sightseeing, tear gas gets deployed. That's also a thing that happens. Usually, when I go sightsee, usually I'm actually carrying a respirator because tear gas usually gets deployed when I go, visit things for tourists or sightseeing purposes. That also is a thing that happens. Right, and people like Marjorie Taylor Greene and the Republican Party think that they're being treated. They call them political prisoners.
That's all you got! That's all they got! What the fuck? Let's go!
It's a yeah, dude. Look. That's also a thing that happens when I go sightseeing. I'm usually met by riot police. Yeah, dude. Yeah, insurrectionary tourism. It's a new concept in travel. I see that. It's lucrative. Yeah, another normal thing that happens is when I go when I go to tour places, I'm usually met by riot police.
Fucking pussy!
Thinking the justice system made a killing with this group financially? Ha.
Anybody got like some alcohol?
Yeah, I also start to like light things on fire. Specifically, yes, media equipment. I also like to light media equipment on fire, because that's also a thing that happens when you sightsee. Do you bring your own flashbangs or expect the riot police to have them already? Yeah, no, I mean, usually I just bring my little respirator and I'm good. Bring your own flashbangs? Ha! Tucker Carlson has some great footage. No. Tucker Carlson is a propagandist, and you're a fool if you think that what he's giving you is the truth.
Hey everybody, CNN is hiding out behind Union Station. Oh, their headquarters is over there.
I don't know where that is though. I'm not from here.
Start making a list, put all those names down, and we start hunting them down one by one.
Yeah, dude. Also, what happens when I go sightseeing is I start making lists of people that I want to hunt down. Because that's also a normal thing that happens. Yeah, we're watching the best footage. Yeah, this is the greatest hits right here. Traitors get guillotines. Traitors get guillotines. That's interesting. Also a normal thing that happens when you sightsee. Remember, this is Tucker Carlson's words. He put it as sightseers. That's his words, as he put it. A perfect spot for a Croc ad? Yeah, I guess. They're trying to sell me Crocs.
Right on, brother. And kill one of us. And no matter what, even if it kills you, remain a free man. Die on your feet. Live on your knees. Fuck the AP and everything else, you motherfuckers. Mobilize in your own cities, your own counties, storm your own Capitol buildings, and take down every one of these corrupt motherfuckers. You fucking listen to them.
Insurrection, a violent uprising against an authority or government.
They steal our money.
The pile makes me sad. Camera equipment is hella expensive. True. Anyways, yeah. Cool. Now that we've juxtaposed that, with Tucker Carlson's fucking narrative, what he's saying and what we saw with our own eyes doesn't quite add up, does it? So I'll leave you with this. Once again, why is the Speaker of the House arguably a very powerful figure? Okay? But cameras and lights probably won't. Ha! The Speaker of the House arguably is an incredibly powerful position. So I'll leave you guys with this. Why the fuck is this very powerful politician in this position is giving exclusive access to this far-right propagandist. And why didn't he release just the footage by itself for the people to see? If that isn't like effectively like state media, state sponsored or state sanctioned media, I don't know what is. This is a good
Senator
meme.
Josh Hawley also had to flee. Earlier that afternoon, before the joint session started, he walked across the east front of the
Created a
Capitol.
public database for all the
As you
footage.
can see in this
Nice.
photo, he raised his fist in solidarity with the protesters.
I thought that this was not seen before, that the security footage. I thought that that was like the big deal that they wanted to release, like 40,000 hours of it. I thought that was different.
Already amassing at the security gates. We spoke with a Capitol police officer who was out there at the time. She told us that Senator Hawley's gesture riled up the crowd. Later that day, Senator Hawley fled after those protesters he helped to rile up stormed the Capitol. See for yourself.
Again, even if he was, not leaving because he was scared. Oh, didn't release it except selectively during the gotcha. Yeah, they had all this footage, but I don't think they've released all of it. I think that's where the difference is. Even if it's the case that Hawley isn't running away because he's scared or a coward, I don't care. It doesn't matter. Why did he need to be escorted? If there was no danger, if there's just, if there was seriously no danger, they were just, tourists. Why did he need to be escorted by police out of the premise? Explain that. This is how these people fucking lie and push their garbage, and suckers buy it. In Rupert Murdoch's words, it's not about red or blue, it's about green. Yeah, why is he running from the Patriots? Isn't he a patriot? What's the matter? What's the matter? Anyways, folks, yeah. We did it. We got through everything. All right, folks. Peace. I gotta get out of here, folks. I'm kind of hungry. Thank you guys so much for joining today. I appreciate it. If you guys enjoy the content, don't forget to hit the follow button. It really does help us out. You get 6 free emotes. And thank you so much for the support. Thank you for the gifted subs. It's the Morton 5 gifted sub. Thank you for the biddies. Alio, I appreciate it. Thank you all. You guys are what makes this channel grow. If you guys want to support the channel and cannot support it financially, here is another way you can do it. Have a good one. Thank you so much. You have a good one, Pirate Ninja. Appreciate you stopping by. Just head on over to the YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button, I'm getting up. Don't worry about it. You have a good night. I appreciate it. Left Reckoning. All right, we'll raid Left Reckoning. Not a problem. All right, folks. As always, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. See ya. All right, folks, we're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See ya. Thank you, It's the Morton. Appreciate the support. See ya.